Shays Rebellion and Whiskey Rebellion. In 1786, a gathering of American landowners conducted a series of massive protests in Massachusetts known as the Shays Rebellion, since American veteran Daniel Shays led the individuals. Rebellion. In this confrontation, people disapproved of the method state and municipal tax receipts were being conducted. A charge on alcoholic beverages on Pennsylvania's western border resulted in resentment among residents, generating the Whiskey Rebellion in the period 1791 to 1794, a crisis during the first years of the American nation. Both confrontations had a considerable impact on the public authorities of the United States, since the Shays Rebellion was linked to the development of the Constitution, while the Whiskey Rebellion affected the central government's functioning. A certain tax increase or change the government implements can be met with opposition due to the manner in which individuals perceive how society operates. In general, the primary causes of organizing the Shays and Whiskey Rebellions can be characterized as cash issues, weak governance, and inadequate commodity taxes. In fact, the national government's capacity to oversee internal processes was influenced by both rebellions. Shays' Rebellion provoked concerns over the absence of a centralized authority, whereas the Whiskey Rebellion strengthened public belief in the federal government's legitimacy. In this instance, the Shays' Rebellion was mostly motivated by excessive taxes. It contributed to the burden that the landowners exclusively had devalued paper money, since the Massachusetts state had mandated taxes solely debited in hard currency. From the perspective of the short-term effects, President Washington called for enhancing the federal government in response to Shays' Rebellion, since it highlighted the fragility of the public authorities, according to the Confederation Articles. Shays' Rebellion revealed major drawbacks in the Articles of Confederation that prohibited the federal government from efficiently controlling the country's finances, despite the fact that it did not succeed in its objectives. The Constitutional Convention of 1787, which replaced the Articles of Confederation with the American Constitution, was prompted by the demand for changes. Describing the Whiskey Rebellion's main short-term effects, the despised whiskey tax was eliminated after the confrontation was terminated. Furthermore, rather than denouncing the government, the uprising encouraged Western farmers to be involved in voting procedures to select the laws and legislators that would represent them. Regarding the long-term effects, the repercussions of the Shays' Rebellion had a substantial influence on the formation of the Constitution of the United States of America, which was assessed as a lasting procedure. Moreover, Shays' Rebellion was connected to the elaboration of a more powerful federal government that could simultaneously supervise the entire nation and ensure that potential threats are recognized. The consequences of the Whiskey Rebellion reinforced the notion that the new administration had the authority to impose a specific tax that would affect residents of all states. It additionally reaffirmed the concept that the new leadership had the power to enact and execute laws that affected every state and region. To summarize, although both protests did not accomplish their goals, they highlighted significant shortcomings in the Articles of Confederation that prevented the central government from efficiently managing the nation's finances. The detested whiskey tax was repealed following the end of the conflict, which adequately summarizes the Whiskey Rebellion's immediate results. The development of a more robust federal authority that could simultaneously oversee the entire country and make sure that possible dangers are detected was linked to Shays' Rebellion. The effects of the Whiskey Rebellion strengthened the idea that the new government had the power to enact a particular tax that would apply to citizens of all states.